After learning all about the horrors of the Chernobyl accident in the last few weeks, thanks to HBO's superb drama series, it feels a little bit crass to play games based on those events as entertainment now. But here we are with Atypical Games' follow-up to Radiation Island. Unfortunately though, I'm here to explain why this game is toxic waste in my review of Radiation City on the Nintendo Switch. I was honestly looking forward to this a lot. I really enjoyed Radiation Island when I played it on mobile a few years ago, and the follow-up seemed to be building on that game with the added bonus of the physical controls and a little bit more grunt from the Switch console when compared to mobile. Well, I'm not sure what's gone wrong. It's a project full of ambition, maybe too ambitious, as it tries to create a massively open world survival game, something akin to the Fallout series, but Radiation City is a buggy mess. You begin by crash landing on your way to investigate a missing journalist outside of Pripyat, ground zero of the Chernobyl accident, which is still a radioactive wasteland some 30 years in the future where this game is set. Your plane crash, leaving you vulnerable not only to the elements but also zombies that patrol the area. Zombies because radiation? So your immediate task is to loot one of the repetitive, bland and totally illogical buildings in your vicinity. I say illogical because most of these houses are just square rooms filled with crap, connected by a myriad of doors, and also I don't think I saw one kitchen or toilet in any of these supposed houses or buildings. A working mixer tap or bidet is the least of the worries in the buildings though, due to every one of them being haunted by a poltergeist. Walk into any room in any building and the furniture will start to levitate spookily off the ground. Walk into an oak sideboard and it just jitters and skids around the room at the slightest touch. Any object that isn't nailed down is liable to be thrown across the room at the slightest brush. It's pretty awful. It looks terrible and means no object has any sense of weight or mass in the game. It really reminds me of something like Gary's mod or the old Half-Life games when you used to tinker around with them. Terrible. Not that your movement's great anyway, it's clunky and awkward either on foot or in one of the vehicles that you can find and repair and then drive. Using either, your character has the speed and the turning circle of a shipping tanker, which makes avoiding the zombies an exercise in futility. Avoid them you will have to though, as combat is basically not an option. They will slide towards you across the ground as if on ice, then with a giant leap land a few feet from you, dealing a massive damage somehow. If you're lucky, you may have a frying pan or a big stick to wield against them, but your best option is to avoid combat altogether. Baseball bats and crowbars offer some relief, but if you do happen to stumble across a gun, of which there are precious few anywhere around, the aiming is so jerky and slow that you may as well just keep running. Dying will respawn you either miles away from where you perished at the last campsite, or helpfully, he says in full sarcasm mode, right in the middle of a zombie horde. I had a lovely wasted 2 hours whilst I was respawned time and again in the middle of a field full of fireball throwing zombies that insta-killed you with one fiery death ball. How my controller wasn't lobbed through my TV at that painful encounter, Lord only knows. There is an RPG type system in the game with stats to level up and an incessant hunger and thirst meter to satisfy. It feels like you spend most of the game looking frantically for the next well to drink from or the next tin of tuna to open, rather than making any tangible progress towards the story missions. Thankfully, missions are laid out quite clearly on a map and you're always given something to push towards, although the lack of dedicated side missions does mean if you get stuck on a story mission, you have little other option but to keep throwing yourself at it. Where other games of this ilk would allow you to go off and spend some time on another activity before coming back and attempting the main story mode again. It's a shame really, as there is a good game buried under all of this radioactive mess. Slightly more responsive controls, a tweak to the behaviour of the physics engine around objects, and a more forgiving checkpoint system are all things that could be patched in and would go a long way to improving this game and would certainly bring the score up a few points. The general performance though is maybe one development fix too far, with the game slowing to a crawl at times in what may be the worst frame rates I've seen in a Switch game since WWE 2K18. I wonder if there's some sort of underlying memory leak issue with the game, as it gets worse the longer and deeper you go into it, although restarting only temporarily alleviates the issue. As I said at the start, I was looking forward to Radiation City and I tried really hard to like it, overlooking many of the flaws in my time with the game, willing to resolve itself, but if anything it just kept getting worse. There are few games of this scale and type on the Switch, and it's a crying shame it's riddled with bugs and so many other issues. Now just before I get to scoring, I wanted to thank you all for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and if so, why not click the like button below, and if you're new, also please subscribe. Thank you! Okay, if you are absolutely desperate for a survival game like this, then maybe you can persevere with it and get some enjoyment, but I just would not feel right recommending this one, and ultimately I'm going to give Radiation City on the Nintendo Switch a regrettable 3 out of 10. Thank you once again for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and remember, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. It really helps me out. But until next time, stay switched on, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers everyone, bye!